that's something that maybe other women need to be more comfortable with as well, to really try and change the dynamics, because if nobody is comfortable with being the only woman in the room, then we're never going to have women in the room.
Welcome to Revelations, the place where we communicate truth to power. I'm Cole Johnson, and I'm so glad you're able to join me. This next guest, how can I describe her? Well, she launched a fan project and it opened a way for her to become a media mogul. She traveled from one continent to another in order to achieve her goals with eyes on and for even more. Now she plans on being the representative women need in the world of Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, the founder of SCH Entertainment and the president and senior talent manager of Missmanaged, Kathy Schenfelt. And this is her revelation. Well, Kathy, welcome to Revelations. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. How are you?
I am doing fine. I'm doing great. Well, I'm glad that you were able to join me. And since you are a first time guest, we do
Hmm.
this for every first time guest. And we figure since uh, we're trying to get to know one another, well, I think we need to open the way. Now, in Open the Way, conversation starts when vulnerability enters a room. Now, you currently reside in California, but that is not where you were born and
Hmm.
reared. You grew up in Argentina. So, how were your formative years there?
Yeah, I grew up honestly in like such a small town to the very south of Argentina. It's super close to Antarctica, so very cold. We have penguins, snow. There's really not much to do, so I spent a lot of time honestly at home. My parents worked pretty much full time, and I was an only child, so I had a lot of imagination, and I was home a lot. And I think growing up and being home a lot in a town where there really wasn't much to do was kind of what allowed me to seek, other things. Like I knew that I wanted to come to LA, and I was really just loved movies and everything. So I think if I had probably, been born in like a big city, like if you go to Buenos Aires or something like that,
Mhm.
maybe I wouldn't be here. So
Hmm. Okay. Small. I don't know why I have the Journey song, "Don't Stop Believing," the beginning of it,
yeah.
ringing in my head just now. But that's good to know. Well, you spoke of how a little bit of your upbringing is. What type of people were slash are your parents?
My mom is a kindergarten teacher. So I like grew up around kids, and I didn't have any siblings growing up, but that really, she just loved her job, and she loved being around kids. And I would always help her like come up with little stories, and I would draw her books and like write little books for her so she could read to her kids during class, and that was like my favorite thing ever. And my dad, he was a businessman, and he had a bunch of different companies throughout my life. But for the most part, the one that he had most recently was he was starting a project to work in tourism with disabled people.
Hmm.
Because where I'm from, we have a lot of really cool, what do you call them, like just natural um sites, I guess, that people come from all over the world to see. So we have like this beautiful glaciers, and we have a lot of really cool skiing opportunities. So we have a lot of people coming to our town to do that, but
Hmm.
there's not really much available for people who don't, who are in a wheelchair or are just not able to walk. So my dad was working on a project to kind of like help enable tourism for those people, but
Hmm.
he sadly passed away about almost 2 years ago now. So
Oh, well, my condolences on that.
it's okay.
Uh,
It's life. It's life.
yeah, yeah, it is life, and it's unfortunate that you lose beautiful people in your life and you have to get through it. But
Hmm.
hopefully, you can and you find ways to do that.
Yeah, and honestly, I always think that I personally love talking about my dad, and I always tell people when, sometimes they get a little shaken up whenever I mention him, and I'm like, no, please, like I want to talk about him, because everything that he left me and everything that I lived with him was such a beautiful experience that I want to share that. So I think it's as sad as it is. I think the
Hmm.
grief itself, it's like it speaks for the love that he left.
Wow, wow, that is awesome. That is awesome. I'm glad he made that type of impression upon you. That is
Hmm.
wonderful.
Hmm.
That is absolutely wonderful. Okay, so I think just in ear hustling, I think I heard your father was an entrepreneur. So, uh,
Yes,
how did being an owner become something you knew you wanted to do so early?
I think my dad always he always kind of he's always been working. He's always been hustling, and he had so many different companies throughout my life. Some of them he ended up selling, some of them didn't work out. And I think seeing him jump from one thing to the other in
Hmm.
search of what he really liked kind of made me realize that I didn't need to stick with a job that, didn't make me happy, and that I could be my own boss. And he never worked for anybody. And I always really admire that, the fact that he was his own boss, and he didn't have to respond to anybody else. And I knew, as like when I was 15, 16, and I started working, I said, I never want to be in a position where I have to report to somebody else in that capacity. So I knew that I had to have my own company if I wanted to do that.
Wow, that early in life, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that is utterly impressive. Okay, all right. So, what what did you want to do when you were becoming the woman that you are now?
I think at the very beginning, I was very much into film. So for a second there, I was wondering if I was going to maybe go into film directing or producing. But I realized that for that, you need to have a lot of money. That's one of
Hmm.
the things, if you want to get into film production, and especially coming from a place where I came, where there's no film industry whatsoever. Argentina
Hmm.
has a smaller film industry, but where I'm from, there's absolutely nothing. So to think of making it in Hollywood or just moving there without knowing anybody, no contacts and no money, that was kind of impossible in a way. And I also realized that I really like the whole process of coming up with the idea behind the scenes, and like getting funding, and trying to sell a story and trying to get other people on board. So I started working with people who were already doing that, but from a side that I could do with what I had in Argentina, which was marketing, because I only needed a computer for that.
Hmm.
So, that was kind of my way of getting into it without actually having to do it.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, you mentioned it a little bit. Well, okay. So describe Argentina's quote Hollywood close quote.
Oh my gosh, it's so small. I think mainly our thing is TV. So Buenos Aires, the capital, we do have studios, but I do feel like our main thing is TV. So we do a lot of drama, and we do a lot of like comedy, like sitcoms. We do a lot of live shows,
Hmm.
things like that, like daytime shows, and like, kind of like Jimmy Kimmel type shows at night. We have a lot of that. But when it comes to film, especially for export, we don't really do much at all. So I think over, the past 100 years or so, we've only ever had two films compete at the Oscars for best foreign film. So that
Hmm.
tells you what kind of movies we're producing. Um, but there's a lot of people that are really talented, and I think the ones that um, work hard, and that they definitely are able to get out of Argentina and do other things. There's a girl right now that she's pretty young. I think she must be maybe 19, 20, who's an actress and singer. Her name is Maya Refico. And she's from Argentina, born and raised. But she is now here. She's starring on the new HBO Max show, Pretty Little Liars.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like a pretty cool thing, because I look at her and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I wish when I was 19, like I think it just sends a great message for anybody who might have those dreams of wanting to act or wanting to do something like that and be in Hollywood, but you're like, well, but I'm from a small town, or like my country, we don't have those kind of opportunities. I think if you're good at what you do, like there's a way for sure.
We'll be right back with more Kathy Schenfelt right after this.
You have to learn to live with yourself before you can make a commitment of yourself to someone else.
When you go to something that's already structured, like the church, I don't need to go in there thinking I'm the pastor. It's like already one set up. You know what I'm saying?
It just had everything, but I learned. You know what I'm saying? Everything I did, I learned from.
So we look forward to seeing you same time, same place. Know that we love you. God loves you more. Continue to stay safe, do the right thing, stay out of trouble.
Conversation that informs a community. Brothers of Legacy. Every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. What's on E. Dicker's mind?
A and B, I'm going to see my way out of it. Because why? I don't care. I have a message for people who do nothing but complain about black people. We can't change who we are. You called the cops on me. I think that every time you call the cop on someone on a false accusation, your need to be a little bit punished.
BS3 Network proudly presents a man with a lot to say and is unabashed to say it. What's on E. Digger's mind? Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure. Public speaker and entrepreneur and writer Kathy Schenfelt joining me on Revelation. She has opened the way, and now it is time for her and for me as well to walk across the bridge to prosperity. Now, with the bridge to prosperity, this is linking childhood lessons to adult application. But let's be completely honest. We're still sort of in your teenage life. So, well, what did your love of Twilight or the series of Twilight, the
Mhm.
movies and TV shows that it produced, what did it produce with you when you were 16?
I just wanted to be part of something. I just really I was pretty shy. Didn't have a lot of friends, and I had all these dreams of what I wanted my life to be. But I didn't quite know how I was going to get there. And to me, Twilight, it wasn't so much about the books or the story itself. I think the community that I found of people who loved this thing as much as I did, and who were passionate and were willing to start conversations, and like they wanted to get involved. I made so many friends from
Mm,
that I'm still friends with today. And they were online friends. Like many of them I haven't even met in real life, but it's been over 10 years and we still talk pretty much every day. And it's amazing. I think the community that I got from it was what really made me want to keep doing it, and also the fact that I didn't see it as a job. It was
mhm.
something fun, and it was something exciting, and it made me feel like I was playing a key part in something that I knew was bigger than me, and I just really like that.
Mm. Yeah, it's always important to have a community behind you, and I think you feel more empowered
Mhm.
when that happens.
Mhm.
Okay. So, what were your first impressions with digital marketing? Because that basically is what you were doing.
I didn't know that I was doing digital marketing. When
Right.
I was a 16-year-old kid, I was, to me, it was a game. It was never a job, even though I was getting paid. It didn't feel like I was doing it for a paycheck. I was doing it because I liked it so much, and because it was something that I was a fan of, and it was passionate. And I think even when there were certain little things that maybe were a little harder, it took a little bit of sacrifice on my end. Like I would stay up until 3 or 4 in the morning working with people who were in LA, and then I would go to school at 6 in the morning, so I would get 2 hours 3 hours of sleep. And my parents were, they were supportive, but at the same time they didn't really understand what I was doing.
Right.
So they were a little like, like, what are you doing? And I think, none of my friends at school, like the people that I saw on a day-to-day basis, really understood what I was doing. They didn't really see it going anywhere, but I always knew in the back of my head, I was like, I understand that you don't get it, but I
Mhm.
think this is the future. Like I think, in the future people are going to be doing this for a job, and this is going to open up doors for me. And I knew that the people that I was talking with and that I was connecting with were going to help in some way. And even just being able to say, like, I did this, even if I changed my mind and I said, well, you know what, I'm going to go into, I don't know, I'm going to be a lawyer, or I'm going to be a doctor. Like I knew that being able to say I did that was going to be rewarding in the future. So that's what I went with. But I never really knew that I was getting into digital marketing. I just knew that I was doing something cool with film, and that it would somehow help build my resume. So it was definitely a cool experience.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I mean, it'd be a cool experience now as we have now matured into adulthood. I can imagine how much cooler it would be. And you're
Mhm.
not out of high school yet. I totally understand that.
Mhm.
All right, so just help me out here. Obviously, you're well versed in English. You grew up in of course, in a place where you spoke in Spanish.
Mhm.
Did you do this with one language, or did you do it with two?
No, it was just English. It was English, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, back then it's probably not as good as it is today. I still obviously have an accent, but I think back then, look, I was looking back at some old, the things that I would do, like tweets and stuff, and I was like, oh my goodness, the grammar was awful. But I had people working with me who were Americans, so they would be able to catch those typos and kind of come in and edit. So it was good. I think they never really knew, like the people that I was working with for the studio. I don't think they ever knew that I was not in the U.S. So it was kind of like they just assumed, I guess, that I was from there, and which is it was always in English. I think the
Right.
bigger community was in English, and even across, when it's something that's worldwide like that, even if the fans do not speak English
Hmm.
from in their original countries, like everybody's trying to communicate in English because we all kind of understand that English is the universal language in that way. So
Right.
even if you have fans from other parts of Europe or South America or Asia, wherever it is, they all tend to still try and communicate in English. So we had fans from all over the world that, we're part of it, and we interacted with, and so it was really cool.
Okay. Nice. All right. Yeah. Wow. The power of you speaking that language.
I know.
Nice. Nice. That makes me even more impressed with you. Okay. All right. So you did all of this, and you started to see it catch on, and you actually caught the ear of some of the biggest Hollywood companies. So how did you handle the attention, the pressure, uh or the newfound I guess the newfound embracing of Hollywood, the place where you actually wanted to be all along?
um I don't think I realized how big of a deal it was at the moment. I
Hmm.
think that now, looking back, because I'm older and because I've been here and I've seen how things work, I can look back on it and I can say, wow, like, holy crap, that was really cool. And, that I
Hmm.
was able to do that when I was so young. But
Hmm.
at the time, I think to me, it felt very much like kind of like a fantasy in a way, because
Yeah.
I was living in a different world. I was in high school. I was, like I said, I was making money, but I would still have to go to school in the morning and do my homework and listen to my parents. And none of my friends back home cared about it. Nobody cared about Twilight or what I was doing with them. So the fact
Hmm.
that I was part of something that I thought was really cool, but nobody else thought was cool, kind of like alienated that experience in a way. And it made me feel like I was kind of living two lives. So it never felt overwhelming. It was never something that I felt was my whole life, because I was able to compartmentalize life and like just driven, you know, like I said, go to school and then come home and I would work. So it was very much something that I think I took it very slow and easy. And I think that was a great way to go, because if I hadn't, I probably would be burned out by now.
Ah, got you. Now, in doing research on you, I was thinking, okay, she's vibrant, she's an adult, she's still young, and I understand that that you have certain tastes.
Hmm.
What I did not think I was going to find with you in that certain tastes is that you have a profound love of classical music. So why is that so
Yes.
important to you?
Yes. So I did ballet when I was really little. I think it was like 2 up to 5 or 6,
Mhm.
and then I quit because I I didn't have the body for it. I was a little I started being a little overweight, and they, for ballet, you have to be very, very tiny and skinny and like tall and have a short frame and long legs. And I didn't have that body type. So it didn't work out for me, but I've always loved classical music, and it just brings me such peace to listen to it. I listen to classical music when I'm working, when I'm doing yoga, like I stretch to that music, and it just I guess brings me a certain peace that I don't really find anywhere else.
More with Kathy Schenfelt on the other side. Alicia.
You can't hold somebody to that standard if you haven't voiced what you want and what you're needing from that.
Mika.
If you're not communicating expectations, you're waiting for your feelings to be hurt.
Nicole.
A lot of people don't want to take the time out to be alone and to get themselves together.
Ivan.
You got to be willing to work through stuff. And from the jump street, y'all done had problems. Maybe you don't need to be working through those.
BS3 Network proudly presents Queen 3 and King podcast. Live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. Are you looking for something to do on your lunch break? Well, there's a show on the BS3 Network that has only 4 words to say to you.
We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready. We ready.
The Lunch Break with AJ, powered by JM&E. Live weekdays at noon Central. Writer, entrepreneur, and public speaker Kathy Schenfelt is joining me on Revelations. She has opened the way. She's walked across the bridge, and now it is time for her to tell us her purpose. So we're going to get behind the purpose. And we're behind a purpose. This is the reason why we function the way we do. So I will just come out with this simple question. What is the W list?
Okay, so that was my baby company. So that was my first company that I created. I was, I think, 18, 19. And I thought at the time that the name was very clever because you know how we have A-list celebrities, so people who are at the top of their field. And I thought at the time when social media was just starting to become as prominent as it is today, that it would be a good idea to play with the words and get A-list celebrities to be on the W list, as in on the web list, the top of the game online. So that's where the name came from. And we honestly did a lot of really cool stuff. We work with amazing companies. We have worked with amazing talent. And it was the foundation for pretty much everything else that came after.
Okay. I love how you said that, baby company. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what were the milestones that you were proud of that your baby company achieved?
Well, my first client, I think, was a really cool experience because I honestly just cold emailed everybody. I didn't have many contacts on the talent side. I had mainly brands and studios that I had worked with before. So when it came to talent, I just set out to send cold emails and just say, hey, like, this is my name, this is what I do, this is my company, can we work with you? And I must have emailed probably around 100 or 150 people on that first week. And the first yes that I got was from somebody that I thought at the time was kind of unreachable to me because I thought they were so cool. And it was this girl, Gemma Styles, who is a blogger and writer and entrepreneur, and she was really cool. So I was so excited to work with her. And she was my first yes, and I always thought, like, now looking back, I'm like, wow, that was so cool that I was able to work with her, and it all just came from a cold email. And I think one of the coolest moments also with her was when I got to go on location at Fox Studios here in LA to pitch a TV series to a room of like 30 men, and it was just me. So that was pretty scary, but it was such a cool moment, and I feel really proud of myself that I got to do that when I was like 23.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you mentioned your current residency now. So, when did you move from Argentina to Los Angeles?
I moved at the end of 2016. So it's been a minute, and I think it's the best thing that I could have done for myself.
Okay, why did you create SCH Entertainment?
I wanted to have an umbrella company that allowed me. I knew that I wanted to stay in entertainment, but I wanted to have an umbrella company that allowed me to have little companies under and that didn't limit me to one thing. So instead, I've always been very I get bored with things very easily. So I was like, okay, I want to have a management firm. Then I had the W list, you do digital marketing. But I said, I don't want to have to create different companies for every little endeavor that I do. So with SCH, we're able to have different things under. And if tomorrow I want to start I don't know, a record label or a publishing company, I can do that under SCH. And I just like the idea of leaving the door open to whatever opportunities may come. So it's kind of, yeah.
Nice. Okay. So okay, I got that. Nice. All right. All right. So what are the advantages and challenges of being a woman entrepreneur?
I think so for myself, I think a challenge is it's not just that I'm a woman, but that I'm an immigrant and that I'm Latina. Um, it's it feels a little harder to be taken seriously sometimes. And it's not just with men. Like, it's not just because you're a woman. I think it's just a combination of all of it. So women, if I'm dealing with somebody who is a white woman who was born and raised in LA and has worked here for whatever many years, I do still feel like I'm below her because it feels like they just have this, you know, superior thing that you just don't have because you're just not from here. So for me, that's what I feel more than being a woman. I've never really, I'm very lucky that I've never really felt, I guess, I've never felt discriminated or like I wasn't given the same opportunity because I was a woman. But I think it also has to do with the fact that most people working in marketing are women. So
Mhm.
that's kind of what we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And I think men are actually the minority in marketing.
Right.
And then I guess when it comes to advantages, well, for me, it's just like I said, I not having a boss and being able to decide when and how I work and who I work with. You know, we get to choose our clients, and we work with people that we like, and we get to choose our hours. We get to choose when we take vacation, and I think that's something that I I'm so incredibly lucky to have, because I know that it's not the standard for most people. So I think that's kind of the biggest reward, I guess, for taking that risk and saying like, okay, I'm going to start a company and see what happens.
Right. Yeah. And I could understand how you would embrace it all,
Mm-hmm.
even channel the challenges into something positive, and of course take the advantages and make the advantages even better for you and for
Mm-hmm.
whomever you represent. So I could totally
Yeah.
understand how you would look at it that way.
Yeah.
All right. So I noticed also that you studied or study in a certificate fashion different lanes of the entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
So uh what did go into certain schools like UCLA, like Harvard? What did they do for you in terms of having you be a better representative for others?
Yeah, I think honestly, I've been taking courses since I first realized that I could.
Mhm.
It's, a lot of schools have stuff that you can do online that's free and it's accessible to pretty much anybody who has a computer and speaks English. So I've been doing classes and courses and certificates from home since I was like 18. And some of them you have to pay for, some of them are free, but I think it's such a fantastic way to learn a new skill. And even if it's something that you might think it's you get the academic leg to go with it, and I think that's fantastic. I've done a couple of things with Harbor online, and it didn't there just doesn't really feel like the experience of going to school, because you're not on campus or going to a physical class, but you still have classmates online, you still have a teacher, an instructor, and you still have assignments and homework and things like that. So it's great. I learned so much, but I think UCLA for me was definitely that one like real American college experience in a way, because
Mhm.
I went there for about 2 years, year and a half, and I was on campus and I went to class 3 times a week, and I met so many amazing friends. But I also made really good connections with my instructors and like all the professors and like guest speakers, and it was honestly amazing. I did music business because I felt like, to me, music was the one thing that I knew nothing about.
Mhm.
I felt like I was pretty well versed in marketing and just entertainment business in general, like acting, modeling, all of that. I felt like I could I could get a good grasp on, but music and music business and like all the things that come with it, like publishing, licensing, saying like all, I knew nothing about that. So
Mm.
I went to school and I learned everything. And besides obviously gaining the knowledge, that was pretty cool. I met so many amazing friends. So it was a really good experience.
We'll have more with Kathy Schenfelt after the break. This is Revelations.
course, Steph Curry, Tim Anderson, Jordan Alvarez. And it's caught! Debo Samuel with the catch.
Michael Jordan can sense
The Fro just got the king.
BS3 Network.
The hottest of hot takes, the coldest of cold hard facts. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Weekdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure. This is a BS3 Network presentation. Politics.
They'll write the law, but they'll enforce it differently. Is that going to apply both ways?
Religion.
God never said that we can't reason together. Matter of fact, he said, let us sit and reason together.
Relationship.
I believe that everybody wants and needs somebody.
From a man's perspective.
They say, girls, if I put some polish on that and get him to buy some different clothes, girl, he could be a winner chicken dinner.
Join the thought engineer.
There's nothing wrong with me developing my piece and you developing your piece, but understand the goal is to come together.
And comedian John Yogi.
Negro, I don't need you putting on no chapstick up there in the pulpit. You do that over there in your chair.
Get ready for
Let's Talk Monday.
Live every Monday at 7 p.m. Central. You want to watch these interviews commercial free? Well, now you can. Revelations is on Patreon. Become a patron today. Writer, entrepreneur, and public speaker, Kathy Schenfelt joins me on Revelations. She has opened the way. She has walked across the bridge. She has given us the purpose and the reasons to why she is who she is. And now it is time to bring all of that to light. Now, all of us shine in a unique way, and of course, Kathy, you are no exception. So when was Missmanaged born, and what is the overall vision of the platform?
Missmanaged was born, I think, in September, first week of September of 2019. And the reason why I had to wait until 2019 was because I had to wait until I was done with college in order to be able to start the company, because of, all the really fun visa paperwork stuff that we had to deal with. So I had to wait until that, until I had the green light to go. So Missmanaged was born as a talent management company. I always knew that my ultimate goal was to work with talent and to help other people, honestly, just make their dreams come true. As cheesy as it sounds, that is the most rewarding thing for me, being able to help somebody get to where they want to be. And I always think, looking back to every time we meet somebody on that first meeting, we ask them, what do you want to do? What's your ultimate goal? What's your dream? And they will list, 3-5 things that they want to accomplish in the next 5 years. And we usually get to do those things. So when they get to accomplish those dreams, or even if it's just like little goals of saying like, oh, I want to be on a magazine cover, and we get to do that, it just feels so incredible and so rewarding to look back and say, okay, we got that person there.
Okay. All right. So, okay, I'll ask this. Why do you enjoy guiding people in terms of where they would like to go or where they should go on their entertainment journey?
I think I've always loved working with people because it's a combination of, for once, I like I said before, just knowing that I can help them, that I have the resources and the knowledge and the tools to help them get to where they want to be. But then on the other hand, I'm also a very analytical person, so I really enjoy thinking very analytically about the process and saying like, okay, this is actually, these are the steps, this is what we need to do, this is the timeline, this is how we get there. And I honestly just really enjoy crafting that, and taking somebody's dream and making a clear path for it. I think it's so rewarding and it's so satisfying when you finally get there.
Mm. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. All right. So, if you have to pick a lane in entertainment that you prefer,
Mhm.
in terms of not necessarily consuming, but in terms of managing, which would it be? Would it be music? Would it be Hollywood and acting, or representing an actor or a director? Would it be a recording artist? Uh, would it be a model? Which lane would you like most, or do you like most in managing people's careers?
Yeah, I think right now what I'm enjoying the most at this stage of my life is working with influencers and content creators.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's a very fulfilling feel right now, just because the market is always growing and expanding and there's so many new opportunities every day. However, I think down the line I'll probably try to stick to music. I think working with a new artist from the ground up and build them up, it's just incredible. It's a lot of hard work. It's definitely the one that takes the most work as a manager, but I
Mhm.
also think it's the most rewarding one.
Mm, I can understand that. To that end, what is guests only?
Ooh, okay. So Guess Only is a platform that I've been working on for a few months. My goal with it is to create a community for women that feels organic, and it feels like a safe space, and it helps connect with people that you wouldn't normally connect with. And I think the reason why I decided to pursue this is I felt like LA lacks connection on a personal level. I feel like when you meet somebody here, at an event or even through an introduction with a friend, it feels very transactional and very superficial. And it's always about like, what do you do and what can you do for me? And I hate that. I hate that so much. So I wanted to create something that would allow women who are in the entertainment industry or tech and beauty, but who live in LA and who are looking to connect with other people that they might not necessarily have the means to connect with otherwise, and start conversations that have nothing to do with what you're doing or your next project. Like, I want to have deep conversations and just really create those meaningful connections that you can't find anywhere else. So that's what I've been working on, and hopefully it'll be ready sometime in the fall.
Okay. And when did you feel as though it was important for you to actually take up that cause and be a champion of women in the entertainment industry?
I feel like I've always been one in a way. I think even back when I was 16 and I didn't really know what I was doing, or I didn't know that it was going to lead somewhere, I still very much was super conscious that I was a young woman and that I was claiming a spot in an industry that is mainly male dominated. And I was okay with that. And I knew that, it wasn't always going to be easy, and it wasn't going to be the smoothest road, but I liked it, and I was cool with having, I was cool with being the only woman in the room. And I think that's something that maybe other women need to be more comfortable with as well, to really try and change the dynamics, because if nobody is comfortable with being the only woman in the room, then we're never going to have women in the room. So I really really like that, and it's something that I I try to fight for.
So you love to stand out. You love to be literally unique.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Another problem with that. No problem with that at all. I love that. All right. So if I were to be a client of yours,
Mm-hmm.
and okay, say if I am a recording artist, what would I benefit from your tutelage or direction?
I would say that me and the other managers that I work with, we really care about our clients as people and not products. A lot of companies in LA who work with artists or actors, influencers, they have so many that you just become a number. And that is everything that I do not want to be. So for us, we really care about our clients as people. We are friends with our clients. We talk to them 24/7. We are always available. And most importantly, we want to create a relationship of trust and not just something that's like strictly professional, because if they need somebody who is going to just come in and be like, yeah, this is a good deal, then they need a lawyer. But for me, it's more about like, okay, what are you going through? How can we help you? What can we do for you? And it's about, it's 360. It's not just about your career or what you're working on right now, but rather, your entire life and every aspect. We have girls who had clients who, they'd be like, oh, like I broke up with my boyfriend and I'm really upset, and we'll be like, okay, like let's talk, like I'll be your therapist if you need me to be your therapist this week. And I really like that. I think that we're very personable and we really care about creating that safe space where they feel seen and they feel like they have a team of people that actually care.
Yeah. It's great to know that the business aspect of somebody who handles the business aspect of things in their career, that they have a personal touch with you and they feel as though, okay, your success is mine too, and we're able and we're actually willing to be glad to celebrate your wins, and yeah, we'll even feel the punches too that land on your chin as well. That's a good way of representing somebody.
Yeah.
So you asked this of clients. I guess I'll ask this of you. All right. So all of this, I mean, Missmanaged, and of course, earlier W List and the mothership, so to speak, the SCH Entertainment company, and soon to come guests only. What is the ultimate goal, and what is the what would you say is would be the Mount Everest moment for Kathy Schenfelt?
I think I want to be able to have different companies and different projects and endeavors that allow me to be creative in some way, while also allowing to delegate work to other people that I work with, that I trust, that I have trained, and to honestly just be able to live a pretty comfortable life. Like I definitely want to have children in the future, and I really love to travel. So I think, for me, all the hard work that I'm doing now and that I've been doing since I was 16 is to lay the foundation so that I can enjoy and delegate in the near future.
Yeah, and being married to a female entrepreneur myself, I fully understand that, and you almost sound just like her, really, when you say those things.
Yeah, but that's the goal. So
Well, that's a good goal, and I continue to shoot for it, because I believe you get there probably sooner than most people would think and realize. Yeah, you definitely bring light to so many people, and just keep that light shining.
Thank you.
public speaker, entrepreneur, manager, and all-around talent in the managerial fields of Hollywood, Kathy Schenfelt joins me on Revelations. And we have come to the point in our show where, in ode of De La Soul, we are going plug Tunin. And this is where the guest gets a chance to plug or promote anything on his or her heart's desire. Of course, this is a her. And so, Kathy, I will now cede the floor to you. The floor is yours. Whatever you want to plug, go right ahead.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to visit our website, it's SCHentertainment.com, and then it's missmanagedla.com for our talent management company. And you can find me on Instagram at Kat Schenfelt. It's with a K. Some people go with a C, but it's with a K. So Kat Schenfelt.
Okay. So K-A-T. Gotcha.
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have it here. Author and entrepreneur, public speaker, Kathy or Kat Schenfelt. Thank you so much for joining me on Revelations.
Thank you.
Wait your turn. You're not old enough. You don't belong here. Those are phrases spoken to someone who's growing in their adulthood, but is not age appropriate in action to many. With Kathy Schenfelt, none of those phrases apply. She can be described in the entertainment management field as a veteran, and she has not approached her 30th birthday yet. Remarkable for such a business powerhouse still growing into her own. The Bible says she considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. Whether it's SCH Entertainment, Missmanaged, the W List, or even Guests Only, Kathy's grasp of entertainment business at such a young age is outstanding. Sometimes we question if the future is in good hands. With someone like Kat Schenfelt, the future will be just fine. Many thanks to Kathy Schenfelt for giving us her perspective on life. And why don't you join us every Tuesday on YouTube or wherever you find this on BS3 Network and other places, where you will see a different person being interviewed each and every week. For changing the world one conversation at a time, I'm Cole Johnson, and this has been Revelations. Thank you for tuning into Revelations. To download this episode, go to Acast and type Revelations. For apparel, go to Spring and type Revelations. Music by Lakey Inspired.